They promise speed and they promise nation building, but when it comes to Canada's most obvious project, they slammed on the brakes.
That Mark Carney's entire elbows up campaign was a gigantic fraud.
If you're new here, welcome, and to all our new subscribers, we're glad that you're here. This is your national town hall meeting. Now, right now, there's one major project that can inject $20 billion a year into this country's economy. It's a project that's logistically ready to go to market, a new pipeline to Canada's west coast. The product, well, it's already flowing. The demand is already global. It just makes the most sense. Mining, LNG Phase 2, those are multi-year future projects. We need immediate cash flow right now, and Alberta has the key. Now stick with me all the way to the end, because you should hear how the Prime Minister reacted when finally someone asked him about pipelines, and how Danielle Smith fires back. But what do politicians want to talk about? Everything except pipelines. The national focus, well, it shifted, and we need to talk about the why. For years, we were told the biggest priority was saving the planet. Now, Canadians are facing economic anxiety, and the pendulum, well, it's finally swung. Just look at this data from Angus Reid Institute. From 2021 to 2025, the priority has flipped. Now, 57% of Canadians say economic growth is the biggest priority for our energy policy, not environmental protection. Growth. They say, show me the jobs and show me the money.
If we could build it at 1 million barrels a day, even at today's prices, that would generate $20 billion a year for the Canadian economy.
This could be the moment that defines Canada, the kind of project a strong nation rallies behind. And right on cue, here comes the minister talking about building a strong economy without daring to mention the one thing that can actually build it.
Is to build one strong Canadian economy. And we have everything any country on earth would like to have. Obviously, we have the great people, the talent, natural resources, gold.
All right, if the economic argument is so obvious, who is standing in the way of $20 billion a year? Now stick with me to the end, for when the Prime Minister's asked about pipelines, it's exactly what you'd expect. Actually, a little bit worse. Okay, enter the premiers and politicians who keep calling this project a fantasy, like it only exists in Alberta's imagination. Check this out.
Through these projects, we will drive the Canadian economy at a time when it's under direct threat and attack by Donald Trump and those who seek to bring his harmful political project here to Canada. The fictional Alberta bitumen pipeline project achieves literally none of these things. Doesn't have First Nations consent, makes no financial or economic sense. It has no private proponent, no route, no private funding, and would cost taxpayers billions.
If you think Canadians deserve this conversation, make sure you hit that subscribe button and share this video so it actually reaches people outside the Ottawa bubble. Every share tells the algorithm this story matters, and it keeps Unfiltered growing across this country. And now, even Alberta's NDP leader is reading straight from Premier Eby's playbook.
Hopefully, she'd finally convinced a private company that it's worth investing in Alberta. And what we got was none of that. There's no route, there's no private proponent, there's no money, there's no deal with any of the other provinces or with the federal government. There's no deal with Indigenous communities along the route. There's just a committee and $14 million of your taxpayer money.
Fictional, no route, no money. The only thing fictional here is the belief that Canadians don't want this project, because the reality, according to independent data, is the exact opposite. Let's look at the lie versus the reality. Nationwide, 59% of Canadians support or strongly support a new pipeline to the northern BC coast. That's a majority. That's solid backing. And Premier Eby, pay attention. 56% of your own constituents in BC support this idea. That's a majority in the province you govern. This isn't fiction. This is a political earthquake. Make sure you drop your province in the comments below and join the National Town Hall right now. This is where Canadians actually talk to each other, not just at each other. I read every thread myself because the real debate starts down here, not in Parliament. Now, they say there's no proponent and no private money, and in the face of the political roadblocks, that's often true. That is why Alberta had to step in.
I don't think it's a success if taxpayer dollars have to be spent to build pipelines. Pipelines should be built by the private sector. If we're going through this exercise, we're doing it so that we can restore investor confidence again.
That's the entire point. If politicians like Eby and Nenshi can make a project illegal before it's even born, private companies will pack up and leave. So Alberta stepped in to be the proponent with the technical support of 3 major companies.
And that's why we are announcing that the government of Alberta will be the proponent of an oil pipeline to the Northwest BC coast, with the support and technical advice of 3 major pipeline companies, including Southbow, Enbridge, and Trans Mountain. Our government will make a formal application to the Federal Project Office under the Building Canada Act.
If you would like to keep this movement independent, you can always drop a super thanks. It stamps your name right here at Unfiltered and helps us keep building this national conversation. Every single one reminds us that Canadians still care enough to stand up and be counted. Now, to be fair, one of those companies, Southbow, quickly put out a statement saying they're not directly involved in any discussions, but think about that for just a second. That's not a denial. That's a symptom. They can't even risk being linked to it because the political climate in this country punishes anyone who dares to stand and build something.
Southbow, a spin-off company from TC Energy, says it's not involved in discussion with either government. However, Southbow is supportive of efforts to find solutions that increase the transportation of Canadian crude oil. We will continue to explore opportunities that leverage our existing corridor with our customers and others in the industry.
They do support the goal, but they do fear the politics because we've seen this movie before. And it cost us dearly.
Alberta's premier was quick to support Donald Trump's plan to resurrect the Keystone XL pipeline project. The U.S. president posted online that his administration would deliver easy approvals and an almost immediate start. Under Premier Jason Kenney, Alberta invested more than $1 billion in this project. Keystone was then canceled shortly after Joe Biden was sworn in as American president. The project was stalled for more than a decade before that.
If you believe Canadians deserve this conversation coast to coast to coast, make sure you hit that subscribe button and share this video so it actually reaches people outside the Ottawa bubble. Every share tells the algorithm this story matters, and it keeps Unfiltered growing right across the country. Thanks. Alberta did its part, put real money on the line when Trump revived Keystone. Then President Biden tore it up on day one, and Trudeau didn't even have the backbone to push back.
While Conservatives are welcoming the renewed interest in Keystone from U.S. President Donald Trump, we should point out that this should be very low-hanging fruit.
But the deepest fraud is the one being pulled by those in power. How can you be the champion of fast-track major projects while simultaneously making the very first project impossible to fill?
But here's the problem for Carney. What's he going to put in the pipeline? He has a production cut that is in law, that he wants to cut back on the production of oil in Alberta. So that means there won't be enough oil output in Alberta to fill the pipeline as long as Carney's policy is in place. So what does he want to put in this new Keystone XL pipeline? He wants to pipe Crown Royal to the Americans? I mean, what's he going to fill it with? Unless, of course, he flip-flops again.
This is the grand hypocrisy. The Liberal government wants to build a single one Canadian economy. But their left hand, the Major Projects Office, is telling Alberta, let's build. While the right hand, the emissions cap policy, is saying you can't fill it. The entire campaign is a bad faith negotiation with the West. This isn't about bitumen. This is about whether Canada works as a country. This pipeline is the test. It's the one project that can answer the demand of the Canadian people right now who are saying economic growth is the priority. It's supported by majority of the nation. The Supreme Court determined that trade and commerce power was given to the federal government for exactly this reason, to prevent premiers like Eby from blocking nation-building projects. And we finally heard from the Prime Minister after his trip to Washington and was asked all about pipelines. Listen to how he answered.
God, you guys were so excited there. I've never seen a group of Canadian journalists' faces light up. You're in the Oval Office. You're going to ask the president a big question. You were just like, you were not. You're never. You look when you look at me. You're just like, the president's there. It's all great.
What about the pipeline?
That's our Prime Minister asking about a single project that has product ready to run through it and could surge billions of dollars into our economy. And what does he do? He walks away.
Well, I think Premier Eby's comments are un-Canadian and they're unconstitutional. I think that the Supreme Court has determined that the reason we have a country and have given trade and commerce power and control over ports and interprovincial infrastructure to the federal government is for exactly this reason, so that a parochial premier isn't able to block nation-building projects.
This is more than pipelines. This is a referendum on whether we are one nation or competing jurisdictions, and the political elite need to be reminded of who they work for. A nation-building project requires a nation-building government. Make sure you follow Unfiltered on all things social, including TikTok, where we drop shorts daily and engage Canadians in conversation. All our social links are in the description below. Make sure you drop your province in the comments and let us know if your economic priority is being served by Ottawa. Join the conversation. And if you want more Unfiltered, make sure you check out our exclusive sit-down with Convoy organizer Chris Barber. Part 1 is right over here. Hey, do you think we could roll that clip one more time of Prime Minister? One more time in his glory. Let's roll it.
Just like you were not. You're never. You look when you look at me. You're just like, the president's there. It's all great.
What about the pipeline?